Hey guys, Slender Magic here, and it's time for another crazy ideas video, or whatever I named this series. Hey, honestly, if it ain't in a playlist, I don't remember what it is. Now, this video probably should have about 9 minutes of prefaces before it for the really incredibly stupid people, but I am so done catering to them. This is not a serious idea meant to be taken seriously. There, the end. That's the only preface you're getting. Sorry. So you guys know Commander, it is hyper popular. I mean, ever since it was invented, it just skyrocketed in popularity. I think it's because it's so different. I mean, I wouldn't say because it's like easy or necessarily cheap to build a deck. I wouldn't really say either one of those applies. I mean, it could be cheaper because it's more casual. But at a certain point, if you're playing white, you want the best removal and the best, the best creatures. So that doesn't usually go hand in hand with being cheap. But as long as you're willing to settle for just something a little bit weirder, a little bit weaker, then it's dirt cheap. So I think that had something to do with it. It certainly isn't ease of building the deck because that's pretty hard. So why do people like Commander? I think, one, it's super different from Magic, but you still know how to play it. I mean, you can sit down and learn the rules in about 15 seconds. Also, somebody could just hand you a deck, and if you know how to play Magic, you probably can operate the deck pretty well. So it's like completely brand new, completely different, and yet also completely the same. So no learning curve, but a completely different experience. But if you look deeper, I think there's some more subtle reasons that people love it. And of course, people are ruining it. Some people, very, very, very few people, but within the people I know, oh boy, at least a couple of them have hyper competitive, like win on turn 2, 3, 4 Commander decks. And how do they do that? You're probably thinking, what the hell? They run 99 unique cards in a Commander. How can you possibly ensure a win? I mean, there aren't, 60-ish cards that powerful. It's pretty darn clear where I'm going with this, obviously, but let me break it down in the order that I've stated it. Commander is super fun because it's, super casual, non-competitive. Now, I've seen competitive Commander, and it's a pain. I mean, it's difficult to watch because the format is honestly kind of broken. I mean, they've banned a ton of cards and kind of kept it a little bit healthy, but it's basically just modern with slightly different rules. I mean, everybody's running these like turbo powerful, turbo consistent decks. But as far as most people are concerned, competitive Commander, like what even is that? Like that, who does that? It's a super casual format. Everybody just chills, and I think people like that it's slower. So let's hit on that first. If you have one copy of every individual unique card, your deck is going to be a lot slower. Even if you were to go to the extreme where, you want consistency, but you're still playing by, the norm rules. You run, I don't know what, like 30 really good, powerful black aggressive creatures and 30 kill spells or removal spells. So your deck pretty much will work exactly the same way every single game because it's a 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 deck. Now in Standard, I would call that a 20-20-20 deck, like 20 heroic creatures, 20 spells, 20 lands, which almost always ends up as an 18-20-22 deck. Clearly, that just doesn't sound as nice. So I would still say that in that case, it would be slower than a Standard deck because you can just go like 4x10 or something similar, where, 4 copies of every card, a tinier deck, no Commander, which actually would lower the consistency, but still, you can have a Standard deck that brings out Emrakul turn 4 or wins this way, and that's it. That's all it does. It has one function. And if you stick to like 2 or 3 major points, like, oh, it's a flying deck that also has removal, or something like that, or like I put counters on stuff and also it's first strike. That's kind of still one win condition. So a lot of decks really do play the same way over and over and over. Now, you can do all kinds of weird mixed decks that have 6 different win conditions, or, sometimes you mill them out, but sometimes you bring out giant creatures and sometimes you just control them to death. Or maybe sometimes you disrupt their hand early, but sometimes you don't pull the Thoughtseize. So, yeah, it plays different. Otherwise, it would be boring as hell. It would be basically Yu-Gi-Oh! Ha ha ha, screw you, Yu-Gi-Oh! So Commander is a completely different flip. You could go like 5 turns without doing anything real significant. I mean, some people are like, I'm going to build white-black and there's 15 different mechanics. It's just kind of good stuff. I threw it together. And those are really fun because they play differently every single game. I mean, just the sheer mathematical probability of pulling the same cards is incredibly low game to game. And that does slow you down because you can't really predict what's going to happen unless you really went nuts with it. Like if you have like a humans and warriors deck and all it does is bring them out plus tokens of them. And that's all it does. Okay, then it's probably going to play consistency or consistently. But most people just build some real wacky stuff. I mean, that's what mine is. It's just generic don't attack me stuff. But if I really liked a white or a blue card, I threw it in there. Why not? So I would even dare say that the number one most attractive trait that draws people into Commander is that every game is different and you have no idea what's going to happen, which sounds terrible because, you know, us Magic players, we like to be in control. We like consistency. Everybody even says consistency is important if you want to win. But then, you know, hand in hand, Commander is super casual. So do you really care that you win? I mean, it's nice, but it's such a fun format. People just play it for fun, except for those competitive tryhard douchebags. So speaking of them, let's just go to that point. A couple of my friends have assembled what I assume is a net deck, although you could really come up with your own version of this. It's a commander deck that wins on turn 2 or 3, so it has such consistency that it wins that early. And even if it doesn't, like if they're just like playing super casual and they don't care, but they're still playing with that deck, it will win on like turn 5 or 6 or 7. I mean, it's so early and it's so combo heavy and it goes for the same cards every time. So I have a proposal and this is way out there. I'm not like, yes, they should do it. Everybody go sign my petition. No, that isn't the point of this video. It's just something to think about, just a what if scenario. And since Commander is super casual, obviously you could just enforce this rule for your playgroup if you really wanted. And also, this would really save you money, so you might find this to be a pretty good idea. It seems to me the best way to absolutely ensure that you are preserving the most attractive trait of Commander is to ban every single direct fetch card. Anything that says, you know, go get an aura out of your library and, you know, put it in the hand, place it on the battlefield. Anything that says go get, just any tutor, any black tutor. Just like go get any card, put it in your hand. From what I've heard, because I think we all know at this point, I'm not going to go look at Commander net decks, a list of 99 unique cards, probably 97 of which I've never heard of, and I have to look at what they all do. Hell no. But from what my friends tell me who are into this kind of crap for some reason, a lot of those decks run fetches because you need to fetch a certain combo. Usually the combo involves the commander, so, I mean, there you go. But the other piece you have to go get. So maybe there's, 3 or 4 or even just one combo card in your deck where it causes an infinite combo and just mills the opponent out, or gets you infinite life or drains away your opponent's life, in an infinite loop. So you need to go get that combo. Now, if you were waiting for that to happen normally, chances are you've got, 1, 2, maybe 3 in the deck. That's such absurd level of inconsistency, like low probability. It's never going to happen. But if you have, 10 to 15 fetch cards, tutors and fetches and just anything that goes to your library to handpick something out, yeah, you're going to win on like turn 1, 2, or 3. I mean, there's barely any decks left that win on turn 1, and honestly, not that many on turn 2, at least consistently, because they've banned the living crap out of anything that does that. But there's still some win on turn 3, 4 stuff, even 5. And that's a little early for Commander. It's supposed to be quite slow. A lot of them are combos that can kill everybody in a multiplayer too, so pretty rude decks. So in reality, should they ban every single tutor and every single type of fetch? By the way, totally not fetch lands. I mean, leave those in, because what are you going to do with a basic land? If you fetch a basic land, who cares? I mean, I've never even heard of an infinite combo with that. I'm sure there is one, but I don't think that's what people are doing. So Evolving Wilds, legit fetch lands, leave them in, no big deal. But anything that fetches like a permanent or like a spell or just some kind of, something that would cause a combo to happen that just lets you go into the, what would that be at that point, 93 or whatever remaining cards and just hand pick one of them out, it's just not good. I mean, it's just like, it's the opposite of what Commander was built for. So should they ban, probably 30, 40, 50 cards that are all fetchers? Probably not. I mean, it's never a great idea in reality to ban that many cards at once. A lot of people rely on them, even if they're not going to be a dick about it. They have like 3 or 4 tutors in their deck, and they're just to go get something powerful so they don't top deck a bunch of garbage. So they use them responsibly, I guess you could say. But for the other people who completely ruin the game for everybody with these dickish combo decks, I think we need to take away their weapons. So I think it would like really piss some people off. So I think no, they should not actually ban, tutors. I think they've maybe actually banned a couple, believe it or not, just to lower the number. I thought I saw a couple of those on the ban list. I don't remember. It's been forever since I looked at it. But yeah, I mean, I think the appropriate action is if somebody's running some ridiculous combo deck where you just played like 3 multiplayer, 4-player commander games and finished them all in 5 minutes with the same winner every time, with the same combo and the same cards, and they went and handpicked it out of their deck and just launched it on an early turn, just tell them to like piss off. Just tell them they're not welcome in your play group because they're ruining it for everybody. I mean, who sits down to play 4-player commander and then does that? Like how messed up in the head and obsessed with winning do you have to be like, haha, I won again on turn 3, you peasants? Like, are you kidding me? First of all, I think we all know damn well that's a net deck. They didn't design that themselves. Probably not. And 2, they're playing for fun. Losing on turn 3 is not fun. So luckily, in my play group, like I said, I know a ton of people who have decks like this, but they're not like at all going to bring them out. Like, it's only to show off to people. It's kind of like, like if you have a really expensive car that goes really fast, but then you don't constantly drive at 120 miles an hour on the highway, you just show it off to people like, hey, this is a fast car. Cool. Oh, look what I own. This is neat. But they would never really like consistently use it all the time in a way that pisses off everybody else. They do not abuse the power of the deck, as it were. So, I mean, yeah, they own them. And I don't know if they ever go to some kind of competitive commander event. I've never even heard of something like that in the area. I guess they just have it ready or just felt like building it because it's an anomaly. But hey, if you've got a person like that and you consistently sit down with them and they're like, haha, I won again, I'm so much better than you, just kick them out of your play group or tell them to switch decks. I mean, you got to send these people a message because they're ruining the fun for everybody, clearly. I don't think I even need to like tell people that that's the action you should take. It's just I know people in the comment section are going to be like, this is crazy, saying we should ban 50 cards again. No, I'm not. I cannot reiterate that enough. I am not saying that in reality on the official ban list they should ban every single tutor, okay? I'm not saying that. But I am stating that under some circumstances those cards do ruin the game. But since nobody gives a crap about Commander, anybody who's abusing the cards, just tell them to, go away. You don't want to play with them anymore, and now they spent all that money and all that time on that deck, and they have nobody to play against, which is exactly what they deserve. That's the more appropriate way to handle it. Either that or build an all-counterspell deck. That's the way I would handle it. Luckily, I've never actually been in that situation, not even once. Have had multiple people, I was going to say 2, but it's actually at least 3, build absolute troll decks, which just like piss everybody off, make me the target cards, and it has like almost no win condition. It's just like a complete joke troll deck, and it's actually kind of funny because it's like, who can kill the person the quickest? We were actually playing like a 7 or 8 player one, and the guy slaps down on like turn 4 or something, some kind of prison card where no more than 2 creatures can be on the field in play between all the players cumulatively. If you summon a third one, it instantly dies. And it was just like, oh my god, somebody pull and, I don't know, enchantment removal, artifact removal, whatever the hell it was. And then as soon as we removed it, within 1 turn cycle, that guy was dead. It was so funny. So even like funny dickish decks are actually kind of fun to play with. I mean, if you don't get too offended by it. My deck's a little bit of a troll deck too. It's the multiplayer don't attack me or I'm going to make your life a living hell for the rest of the game deck, which is about as polite as it sounds. It's swing deterrence and counterspells. That is like all it is. But hey, that's Commander. I mean, it's completely nuts. You never know what your own deck's going to do. You never know what your opponent's deck is going to do, and neither should they. Neither do they most of the time. Individual card tutors and individual card fetches completely toxic poison to the format, though. That is a shame because, my deck could use 2 or 3 of them just to, go get the Leviathan when appropriate. I'm not, using some stupid infinite combo, but it would be nice to throw them in. But I'm like, first of all, they're really expensive. And second, most of them are black and I don't run that color. And then third, it's still kind of a dick move. It's not really in the spirit of Commander, so I just didn't put any in. So if you want to be polite, I would just recommend you pretty much do the same thing. Oh, and since I know somebody's going to ask, scry and draw. Yeah, scry and draw all you want. I mean, even the cards that let you scry every upkeep or draw 2 cards per upkeep, then discard 1. Yeah, I mean, you still, if if the card's the fifth from the bottom, you're still not going to hit it. So it's still not consistent. And honestly, the highest scry amount I've ever seen on a reasonable cast cost card was probably Contingency Plan and then Tygam Scheming or whatever that card was. You scry 5, so you can only look at, I mean, assuming it's turn, I don't know what, 3. I mean, you got 90 cards left. You're looking at 5. That's like, what is 6 or 7% of your deck? I mean, yeah, you're not going to hit the card you want. So those are, they're helpful and they can accelerate your deck and get the garbage out of the way, but they're not like, I'm going to handpick this one aura. Oh, look, I won the game. So I have no problem with Scry and Draw and Commander. I would actually highly recommend that. That's a focus of almost any deck. That's getting to the good cards the fair way, okay? That's reasonable. So what do you guys think? Do you actually right now ban, tutors and fetches and stupid combos and, just all that kind of dumb crap in the net decks and all that from your Commander group? Do you not even play Commander? What do you think of my idea? Is it a good policy that you'll adopt, or do you think I'm completely insane? You could choose both. I mean, you wouldn't be wrong. Anyway, I'll see you guys next video.